What's up, you guys? It is your boy Techie Chris. I am a network engineer, and I am here with.
Josh Tech, and I'm also a network engineer.
That's what's up. Pretty much with this video, we are coming together, and we wanted to just give you guys the insight on network engineering. Me and Josh have been talking about doing this video for quite some time, but we actually have been able to get together and make it happen today. So overall, what you can expect is just overall insight on the field of network engineering, how we got here, what you guys can do to get here, and overall just anything that you want to know in relation to network engineering, right? So I'll just go ahead and get us started. So Josh, if you could just tell them a little bit about yourself and how did you become a network engineer?
I am prior military. I served in the Army for 3 years. Um, how I became a network engineer, also, I'm 23, just letting y'all know. Uh, how I became a network engineer. So, I had ended up going to a unit that was very prestigious at the time. Not as prestige not as prestigious anymore, but I went to a unit that, very, very much like they wanted education over everything. You wanted to deploy, you get Sec Plus. If you wanted to do anything, you have to get Sec Plus. So I ended up getting Sec Plus. They paid for it. I failed the first time, got it the second time. And then I went to learn a little bit more about my job. They sent us to this thing where we learned a little bit more about networking and essentially becoming a better 25 series. And 25 series, if you don't know, it's essentially all IT or cyber, because you have SATCOM, you have radios, you have IT specialists, you have network administrators, stuff like that. But for me, I was an IT specialist, and when you're 25 series, you learn everything. You learn SATCOM, you learn radios, because 25 series is we all do each other's jobs at
Yeah.
some point. And I eventually got my CCNA. I ended up getting out and I got a job at Cisco as a tier one network engineer. It was good for 8 months until I got bored and I didn't feel like traveling an hour and a half every other day. It was nice, but I just couldn't do the hour and a half drive. And I ended up applying to the job I'm at now to become a tier two network engineer. So yeah, I essentially they that unit put me up they set me up for success.
Yeah. So, I mean, pretty much where you came from, do you feel like you got the necessary experience hands on to really, feel comfortable in the market of network engineering?
So, I'll tell you the thing that I did for me personally, because one thing that my unit did do was, like, they wanted you to brain dump the exam and then learn the rest on the way, and I was like, "I can't really do that." After I failed my CCNA the first time, I took 7 months to study for it off and on. And then I got set up for a 1-week class where essentially it was kinda do the same thing, but I used that prior 7 months of studying off and on to apply the knowledge that I already learned, and that's when I kinda just said, "You know what? Imma build on the CCNA, I'm gonna study it, pass it, and now I have an entire lab where I can do IPsec, DMVPN, Get VPN, Flex VPN, stuff like that," and I built from there. And those projects that I did definitely helped me get to where I was to where I am now, actually.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, my background, I came from a little bit more of like a traditional college background. I had internships all in college, and then after I graduated college, I had one of the companies that I interned for actually brought me on as a network admin, and then I changed to another company that brought me on as a network engineer. So kind of like did the whole stack. I did everything from help desk. I did everything from like basic security administration and then network administration. So pretty much the whole 9 yards. I like to ask a lot of people who are in the field of networking because, as we know, networking is not, the field that excites a lot of people, right? A lot of people are geared towards maybe cyber, maybe, cloud, all these new fields that are coming in more recently. Why did
Mhm.
you want to choose networking over all of these other fields that are, obviously a lot more popular?
Alright, I'll be honest. So, I wanted to be an ethical hacker, and I
Yeah,
think everybody has that phase. I wanted to be a ethical hacker or, what is it? Penetration tester, if you will. But then I was like, "Damn, I gotta do a lot more than I should than I know."
yeah,
And I'm taking extra steps to do something I have no idea about. And I was like, you know what? Why not just strengthen the skills I already have in networking? Because essentially in the army, I was an IT specialist slash network admin slash satcom admin, stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I was like, you know what? Instead of going for ethical hacking, going for CH, going for OSCP, stuff like that, let's go for network engineering. My goal is to
Yeah,
be a network engineer.
yeah,
Why not?
yeah. Not a bad idea, right? Yeah, I mean, I love the field of networking. It's not, I feel like more recently with the content creators like, yourself, myself, it has definitely become a lot more popular lately in recent times than it ever was before. And how do you feel about that? Because I mean, when we were first breaking into the field, it definitely wasn't this popular. Like people weren't trying to be network engineers like that.
So for me, now that it's become more popular, it has definitely highlighted the fact that everybody in our field is definitely older.
Right.
Definitely older. Like,
Yeah,
all the people
that's
who
one
wanna
thing I
get in.
noticed, like, even
Yeah.
in pretty much every environment that I worked in, I'm always the youngest person. Like, always the youngest
Yes.
person. Yeah,
Yes.
and then
Everybody on my knock floor is, like, 35 up. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm 23. My
yeah.
bad."
Yeah, and I mean, for a lot of people, the age gap can be very intimidating because, like, you come into a field and you see people who are 30 plus, maybe 40 plus sometimes. And I mean, a lot of time they have a fair amount of experience. Like, it can be very intimidating. I mean, do you have a way that you deal with that? Are you able to just kind of oversee that?
Uh, in all honesty, this might be a little prideful, but I learn as much as I can from them, plus more.
Plus more, yeah.
Because right now I'm studying for the CCNP security, but I'm taking the concentration right now, SVPN, and every time I learn something new, I challenge the other guys and ask them like if they know anything about it. If they don't, they don't. It is what it is. But I always, talk about it because if I'm able to reinforce that information to myself, I'll be able to remember it for the exam.
Okay.
I think it's good, especially for me. But I see everybody as an equal, but I try my best to learn as much as I can from them.
Yeah, yeah. I got you. I got you. I mean, that's the best way to do it. You know, people been in the field for a long time, obviously. As at the age of 23, age of 22, you're really just trying to learn as much as you can while also trying to exert yourself and make sure that you're not falling behind because I mean it's very easy to fall behind, especially with like the new technologies that are out here, like AI. That's a big one. A lot of times you get questions, hey, AI is going to take your job. Not even questions, they're actually telling you like, hey bro, you're going to lose your job to AI. I'm like, bro, what the heck?
No,
uh,
dude, I don't know if you know the guy, but I ended up blocking him because he had said some unnecessary things under my post. But his symbol is like a plug-in. It's
yeah.
white and blue. I ended up blocking him. But he kind of like made an argument that, AI can and maybe will take our jobs. And I'm like, be for real. Be for real.
Yeah.
Because I don't think AI is gonna get up and walk on its own 2 feet, go and unplug, a cable because it's flapping, and I don't think it's gonna go that deep, because are you gonna tell AI how to, configure a route? Are you gonna tell it all of your information? Are you? Because I if you are, cool, but that's a lot of information that you're gonna have to deal with, and if something goes wrong, who are you gonna blame? The AI or the people who
Yeah, I
made
mean,
the
there still has
AI?
to be this. No matter what, there still has to be that human intervention. Yeah, AI is a
Mhm.
thing to definitely be wary about it, be understanding about it, but know how to use it in your benefit rather than be afraid, or not even necessarily afraid, but have this doomerism mindset that AI is going to take your job, right? Like, no matter where you are. I work more on the enterprise side. I know that you work more on the knock side. I work more on the enterprise side. When we go to a site that we has to be built up and build a network from the scratch, you have to understand. You have to first get there and see, are the circuits right? Is the ISP gateway addresses correct? And then when you do that, you have to make a route to the ISP circuit. So it's not something that you can just automate with basic AI. There has to be that human intervention there to make sure those things are correct. Because if you have the wrong IP on your route, obviously those two devices are not going to talk.
Yeah,
Simple
like
as that.
exactly. Cause like imagine, you got AT&T and you're setting AT&T's your ISP, and you're gonna set up, some VRF.
Yeah,
Like, how is AI gonna, know which one to do if you're using VRF?
yeah.
Like, it's a little weird, and then IPsec can come in, you're doing all kinds of stuff. "Oh, we want VPNs, please." Chill out. Hold on.
Yeah,
Hold on. Slow down, buddy. Slow
yeah.
down.
I definitely do feel like I don't want to say it's a far fetched topic, but it definitely is one that has been like the people who say it are the people who maybe they want AI to take take our jobs. Maybe they want less competition. Like it's that's how I see it. But definitely something to be wary about, but not something to be worried about. That's how I put it.
Most definitely. And I wanna ask, so what is it like being on the enterprise side? Because I've declined some offers that would be technically, I wouldn't say on the enterprise side, because the offer that I declined was mostly audio and video,
Yeah.
and I haven't worked with audio and video like that, and I've been in a knock for a while. And what's it like being in an enterprise?
Being in the enterprise, and to be fair, I've only ever worked in enterprise, right? But I genuinely do like enterprise. Reason being the aspect of you are pretty much what the business is going to rely on all the time. So, like I know similar, and there's a lot of similarities with like the knock, but like with us, we're always monitoring, right? We always are doing that monitoring aspect, but even when we're not doing that monitoring aspect, we are also doing the complete configuration of those devices. So we have the hands-on aspect where we're actually building those racks. We're racking and stacking, putting in a new switch, putting in a new router, and making sure that that site comes up before business operations, resume. And the thing is, yeah, it can be a little bit stressful when you have to meet a deadline and make sure like it's a Sunday night and these devices have to be talking before Monday when businesses, start back. It can be real stressful, but I like it because I feel like I get thrown into a lot more projects and tasks. Like I get the chance to work with voice, I get the chance to work with wireless, I get the chance to work with route switch, I get the chance to pretty much do the whole stack of things just because, that's pretty much what the enterprise requires. Also, with enterprise, there's a lot. What I would imagine, so I'm not sure, but I believe there's a lot more migrations and change management. So, like earlier this year, I took part in a Teams phone migration. So we went from Cisco WebEx to Teams phone. That was something I was pretty hands on with, making sure that all those lines were up and running. Just something that I probably would never have got the chance to work with if I wasn't really working on the enterprise level. You know what I mean? So I feel like
Mhm.
it just gives you the opportunity to be a lot more diverse in what you work on. But overall, I like it. I like it. I get the hands-on aspect. I get the I get the remote aspect where I'm SSHing into devices. It's just I like it.
Yeah. My goal is to work enterprise someday, but right
Yeah.
now, I'm gonna take advantage of the fact that, being in a knock, I can study more. I get a better work-life balance, and I'm not saying this to put what you got going on down, because
Yeah.
like I said, I wanna be an enterprise one day where I'm actually implementing, migrating, stuff like that. But right now, I'm taking advantage of the time that I have to myself to study for what I need to study for, like
Okay.
the CCNP security. Because right now, I don't know if you see my video, but, like, right now I'm working 4 days on, 4 days off, 3 days on, 3 days off, and so on and so forth. And a lot of the time I can use PTO essentially whenever I want. But the thing that I really want to do the most is work enterprise, because being the reactionary force, it's cool. It has its, pros. But the cons is you really don't do anything until something happens.
Right, right. And I understand it. I understand it. And that's definitely different from like my day to day because my day to day, I'm still pretty much making sure that things are working. I'm still, if a ticket comes in that there's slow wireless, I'm still investigating that ticket. And, that might be a whole day's process of actually understanding what happened at that site and fixing it. You know what I mean? So I feel like, yeah, definitely there is a little bit more hands on aspect, but that's not to undermine the knock at all because that is a great place to learn from because when things go down, I mean, who are they calling? They're calling the knock at late nights in the evening. They're gonna call the knock. You know what I mean? So you get a lot more experience with the troubleshooting aspect. I feel like when it comes to the knock.
Okay. Yeah, that
Yeah.
and yeah, I can definitely see that. Actually, speaking of wireless, like how much wireless experience do you actually have? Because I have rarely any,
Yeah.
but like I have a wireless certification.
Yeah, yeah. So my wireless experience really, I have a good bit. So the company I work with now, this is pretty much where I got all my wireless experience. Before that, I didn't do a wireless. I worked for a company that didn't even use wireless. Everything was hardwired. So
Mhm.
this is really the first time I'm actually getting wireless experience, and it's great. I mean, I pretty much configure devices. I put policies and tags on. I formulate policies and tags and actually put those tags on different devices. Pretty much anytime that we have a new site or anytime that we're like taking out legacy APs, I'm reconfiguring the new APs to go into that site. Also doing a lot of site surveys. So I'll walk around with my little I really forgot the name of it, but I walk around with it with the site survey kit and I make sure that like not make sure, but I get an understanding of the how the signal is in different areas of the building,
I know
pretty much.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. So
I f
that's another thing. Like it's very hands on when it comes to wireless, but yeah. So I do things like that. And my experience with wireless, I wouldn't say that I'm a wireless like guru, but I have a good enough experience with wireless to kind of navigate my way in the field. Like the main thing I do is actually configure the access points when they're going into a new location or replacing old access points.
Okay, okay. And I think with that being said, like if you ever feel like you don't know enough about wireless, I could like my advice to you would be to check out the CWNA, the
Yeah.
Certified Wireless Network Administrator. I'll be honest with you, they don't have enough, and I mean they don't have enough study material for it. But like if
Would
you
you,
go
did
to
you use
Udemy,
CBT nuggets for that? Oh,
there's a Udemy course. It's like a 10-hour course. It's not bad, but it's definitely not enough to help you pass because CWNP wants you to use their book, their study guide, and their book is about like this thick.
yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah. Personally, for me, I'm not even the biggest fan when it comes to books, bro, because like I can look through a book, I can answer some practice, but man, I have to have a video course. I have to sit there and take my
yes,
notes with a video course. That's the way I've always been able to learn the best for certifications.
yes, please have a video course. Being in tech, when it comes to studying for certifications, sometimes the book is not enough. And if the book's not enough, God, pray to God that there's a course out there where it's a guy speaking English clearly. Because if you get one, like, I'll be honest, those guys can teach. They can teach, but they just can't speak.
Yeah.
They
Yeah, I
just
feel you.
cannot
I feel you. I
speak.
mean, that's our I mean, with our field, it definitely is. There are people who are more reputable than others, like especially for something like the CCNA. Obviously, there's a Jeremy's IT lab. Obviously, there's, solidified things for us to actually figure out how we want our learning style, right? But there are those certifications that aren't as popular that the resources just simply are not there. So
Mhm.
yeah, definitely a factor to consider. Especially, so you mentioned the Cisco Wireless Associate exam, right? Definitely something that I would be I would be interested in learning because I did do a wireless. I would say like when you get into an established organization, they have already pretty much put a lot of the stuff together, right? So the actual learning aspect of wireless on a higher level isn't always there. Yeah, I'm configuring those APs, but okay, what if the configuration for that AP doesn't work? How were those tags initially put? How were all these policies initially put in place? Those are things that you have to think about, which is why furthering your certifications is pretty good because you get to learn about things on a higher level than actually was only in your organization. Because you can't learn everything from one place. Every organization, every environment is fairly different. Like there's things that I do now that I didn't do on my last job. Things that I did on my last job that I don't even touch now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like when it comes to that, I think the best thing you can do when it comes to learning new things is teaching it to yourself or
Yeah.
teaching it to others. Which is
It's
why
something.
I like doing content creation, in all
Yeah.
honesty. Content creation has definitely helped me learn a couple of new technologies. It's
It's one of those things like somebody will ask you a question about a specific thing. You're like, I don't want to sound like a dumb, so let me go do some research on it. You know what I mean?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, because I think so at my first job, not my first job, my second job, the one I'm at now, they said my trainer was like, "You're gonna teach me what multicast is. And I was like, okay. So I went home that same day, learned what multicast was, learned a little bit about PIM sparse mode, PIM dense mode, IGMP, yeah, IGMP groups, and just overall like rendezvous points, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I put up my phone, I set up my phone right in front of my lab. My lab used to be right behind me. Sorry for the junk, but I taught it to the people who were watching and I posted it to LinkedIn
Yeah.
because if I feel confident doing it in front of lots of people, I'm going to feel confident doing it tomorrow.
100%. That's really why I do content. Like, doing content actually helps with your interview skills. Believe it or not, like you're able to sit here and talk about things that you do and what you've done. That translates over to interviews. Like I feel like after I started doing content, talking in front of the camera a lot more, my confidence in speaking and about what I know has skyrocketed. It makes it so much easier for you to feel confident about what you do at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Most def.
Yeah, yeah.
And speaking of interviews, man, you ever have an interview so bad you know you got cooked?
Bro, I've had those in the past. I mean, yeah, I had one with a pretty big company. I don't want to say the name because if I ever want to apply there in the future, but I had an interview and they started asking me crazy questions about BGP.
Oh,
Mind you, this is when I just started, just past my CCNA, right? Obviously, BGP isn't really a heavy topic on the CCNA.
not at
So
all.
they're asking me these crazy questions about multi-mode fiber, like the color of. I haven't even worked with fiber optic in on hand. Ask me
See,
about, ask me about fiber optic. Ask me about single mode. Bro, I'm just like I'm trying so hard to like remember something, but it's like, bro, that day I definitely got cooked. I can't even pretend. Like because
yeah,
it's just that I hadn't worked with those technologies. You know what I mean? I haven't really configured BGP in a large environment. I haven't. So yeah, bro, I got cooked that day. Can't lie.
like, dude. So I was doing an interview for Amazon, and I'll be honest, I didn't care. I really did not. Like, I'm not moving all the way to Ohio, and I'm not doing 4 hours worth of interviews. I'm good on that. So I just wanted to see if I'd do good in the interview. But, buddy, he asked me the same thing he asked you. Your interview, he said, "What's can you explain the difference between single mode fiber and multi mode fiber?" I was like, "Don't even know.
And
Don't
it's
even know.
okay, right? Because the
Don't
thing
even
is,
know."
you don't know everything. You don't know everything until you've actually dealt with it. You know what I mean? Like, would you just pass? You just got your CCNA. You just probably worked your first knock position. Why would you know the difference between single mode fiber and multi mode fiber on a high level? I mean, that's not really. We don't really deal with that sometimes. And now more since I've been working inside of enterprise. I work in data centers sometimes, so I am able to see single mode fiber, multi mode fiber sometimes. But still, I don't work with it on a high level.
Like, you don't configure it. We don't mess with that. I don't do it. I'm sorry. I don't mess with it. And then he got me with a worse question. He said, "What happens if MTU is mismatched on different interfaces?" And I was like, "It's not gonna be received." And later on, my coworker was like, "It's called fragmentation." And I was like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, I got cooked.
yeah. It's all good. It happens. It
I
happens.
got cooked,
So,
man."
question for you, bro. I know you worked on excuse me. I know you've worked on a knock for a majority of your career. So, when you work on a knock, like, is there? I guess what I want to ask is kind of bring me through like what your day is. Not on obviously things you can't talk about, but kind of just like what exactly do you do on a knock?
So in a knock, we essentially just think of it as like, you know what a sock is. So think of
Yeah.
a knock exactly like a sock, but for network devices. So we manage different sites, different devices at those sites, and we use like something similar to SolarWinds, and we just wait for that stuff to either fall. Like, I forgot the color. So it goes either, it's always green, and if not, it'll either go yellow or red. If it's red, that means all the nodes are down. But
Okay.
if it's yellow, something is, going into air disabled, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe an
Did the port
interface is
flap or
messing up.
something? Okay.
hmm but like I said, in a knock, we are the reactionary force. If something happens we're right on top of it. And if it's something the tier twos can't handle, the tier threes handle it. And if it's something they can't handle on like, hey man, we gotta pass it up to the next.
Yeah.
With that, people who go into a knock, you have to study the layout of your knock. Like the sites, you got to know what connects to what where's the signal flow, what's going on, who goes to where, what comes from what. That's what you have to know because you're not seeing it physically. You're seeing it through like Secure CRT or whatever you're using. And I like Secure CRT, but it's all through SSH. So
Yeah.
a lot of the time you're always working from the OSI model when it comes to troubleshooting.
So, I mean, I would say how I understand is that, like with outages, do you guys have to deal with the ISPs, or are you guys even really working with outages? Is that main part of the job?
So since I've been here, there's only been like 2 outages, but when it comes to like outages, we check with the circuits.
Okay.
So if it's an outage, we're like, hey, let's go ahead and call up the circuit manager or the circuit rep, and we're gonna see, hey, what's going on? Is there something wrong with the circuit? Yeah, circuit's down, stuff like that. We're gonna be back up in a bit, or we're gonna change to the secondary circuit. And I remember one time we had an outage at a site and it was because the circuit was down. And for us, the circuit was supposed to automatically go to the second circuit.
Yeah.
It didn't. And the guys were like, well, can you make it go to the second circuit? This is not our job, big dog.
Yeah.
Can't help you.
So that probably was just a load balancing error that happened on that because
Hmm.
I mean it's obviously supposed to drop and then go to the next, to the redundant circuit, but that didn't happen,
Yep.
which
Like
is which is not good.
hey man, I can't help you. I wish I could, but this is all I can do. Like all I can tell you is it's the circuit.
Yeah, yeah. I
and
got you.
and a lot of the time it sucks because you want to be the person who can give the right answer, but sometimes it just ends with you.
Yeah, sometimes you don't always have the right answer. That's why there are people who are meant for escalation, you know? So
Hmm.
the tickets that you guys handle, how tedious are those tickets? I mean, like the tickets that I handle, it definitely varies. A lot of the time it's people complaining, hey, the wireless is slow. I look at it, I see no issues. So like how are the tickets that you handle?
So for us, like unless there's like a authorized service interruption in ASI, it's not much because
Okay.
like we're our customers are on like the very 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 distant end. Like we manage what we manage for certain people. But, like, the people who if you're worried about, utilizing some of that stuff, you gotta contact your POC, your point
Right.
of contact, and then they'll get in contact with us. And it's rough, but like I said, reactionary force, I get paid to YouTube and study, but I use a lot of my time studying because I don't wanna be in a knock forever. Like, being in a knock is cool until you get stagnant.
Yeah, you get
Mhm.
yeah, and I can see that because I mean, obviously you're not doing like it's not a lot of real configuration, I would say. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay.
So, I'll be honest, I feel like I'm a glorified net admin. Not a
Okay.
network engineer, but I'm trying to be the best I can when it comes to being a network engineer.
And the thing is, like what you post on LinkedIn, all this stuff, what you're doing with your lab, those are things that are helping you keep your skills as on the network engineer level. Because I mean, you still are a network engineer at the end of the day. Don't let no one tell you you're not. You are a network engineer. But depending on where you're working, you're not always gonna have those network engineer skills that you might want to have. Like I work as a network administrator, right? And this was my past position. I worked as a network admin, but I literally never touched any CLI. I never touched any CLI. Everything I did was on the access layer. Okay, hey, this phone isn't working. Okay, maybe PoE's messed up. I go unplug it, put it in a new port, problem fixed. Things like that. Like before, I
Yep.
wasn't I wasn't doing anything that had to do with configuration. I would still have the job title as a network admin, but everything I did access layer. And then also with that, like there's things we have network printers. I was fixing a lot of network printers as well. So my job as a network
Mhm.
admin definitely was not as, I would say definitely wasn't as maybe complex as maybe another network admin. There might be a network admin who's pretty much doing everything I'm doing and more. So it's like jobs vary, depends on where you are.
Yeah, exactly. Especially like so I've declined a couple of positions because of the environment. Like I ask like, what do you guys work with? You guys work with BGP, you working with VPNs, what are you working with? What's going on? What's your environment like? And I know some people can't go deep into it, but like I want to know, am I getting placed in a CCNP environment or am I getting placed in a like IT specialist environment?
Yeah,
Because if
that's
I'm mhm, because if I'm getting placed in a CCNP environment, I'm definitely going for it because that means you guys have lots of tools. You guys can give me a lot of experience, and
yeah.
there's more opportunity to troubleshoot things that I've never troubleshooted before.
Yeah, and I really like that. I really do like that the way that you just said that because like I said, I was literally doing a lot of help and support stuff. I wasn't really a network admin. I don't consider that like yeah, okay, pulling a cable, putting it in another port. Cool. Yeah, that's network admin if you want to say it, but I wasn't really doing those things that I would imagine a network admin to be doing. So yeah,
Mhm.
what you just said is definitely spot on. I kind of do want to take this conversation and take it like a little bit of another direction. Obviously, you and I both have a pretty decent social media following. How much has social media and making content actually helped your career as a network engineer?
So I'm not gonna say it's done much, but has definitely put me in a spot where like my employers know, and they're definitely supportive of it. Um,
Okay.
I feel if it wasn't for the fact that I had a clearance, maybe it'd be a little bit better, but being in the contracting gov tech side of it, it can be a little it can be a little weird
Yeah.
because I'm working with, secret stuff, top secret, and I don't know if they're gonna be like, "Oh, you can't talk about that," which is why I don't talk about my job much.
I got you. I got you. And yeah, thing with me, I have actually never worked in the government sector of things. Everything I've done has been pretty open. So it's like I'm able to do a lot of the stuff that a lot of other network engineers are not able to do and talk about the things that I actually do at work. Like I can comfortably talk about a lot of things I do because nothing I do is classified or confidential.
Mhm, and sometimes I wish I had that ability, but at the same time, like, it's cool, it's fine.
Do you put that you do content on your resume?
No, I don't. I probably should though, because there's actually been some employers that asked me like, "Oh, do you have a YouTube channel?" And he literally said, "Be prepared to be challenged." And I was like, "Wow." So that's
Yeah.
how it's gonna be.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, like I've had a recruiter ask me, like, thing is, since I started making content, what I do notice is that a lot of recruiters on like on LinkedIn actually reach out to me first. That's what I've noticed. Like people, they actually reach out to me first and say, hey, I have this opportunity. I saw you on TikTok or I saw your headline, whatever it is. They reach out to me, which is, actually pretty much a blessing, which is the one reason I'd say, hey, make your content, teach concepts. If you're able to teach concepts, they'll think that you know a lot. So teach your concepts. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And I feel like I think there's a difference between mine and your content that I feel like there's yours is a little bit more appealing to the people who want to be professional because with me I do floating head content, I just hold my phone, talk, post, boom. But with you, it's more like this is the layout, this is what we talk about, this is the goal. And
Yeah.
with me, like I could do that, but it's just not me. And I feel like that has definitely played a part in like possibly getting, sponsorships, stuff like that. Because Ace, he's got a sponsorship. A couple other tech professionals have sponsorships and stuff. And I'm like, what about me?
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, I started with floating head content, and there's nothing wrong with floating head content. I feel like floating head content is the most organic and original you can be. Like that's you being your 100% self. Like what I do set up a camera, I do talk, I do have a structure where I put my videos, but I feel like you don't really have that personal connection with like the people that I once had because and the thing is what I do is I do have my floating head content, but I still will mix in like I mean excuse me I do my my sit down videos, but I still have floating head content within those videos. Like I might I might respond to a question here and there, just because I do like to connect with my community. Like I can like to connect. People ask questions all the time. If I'm just always
Hmm.
doing sit down videos, I'm sitting down like this. I'm not gonna be able to always answer those questions. I'm not gonna be able to drop like 3 videos a day because it does take a lot of time to sit there, record that, and edit those videos. Nothing wrong with floating head content, but I do understand the fact that you say it becomes a little bit more appealing when you don't do it and you actually just have a clear. But people blow up with just floating head content all the time. Nothing wrong with it.
That is definitely true. And for when it comes to content in itself, like for me, I like being funny and being able to teach people what I know.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't mean to cut you off, but the thing is, that is what makes yourself. Like you see a jobs video, you're probably gonna laugh at it. He's probably gonna say something that's very intelligent, but he's gonna put it in a funny way. That's what makes you your brand at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I like that because there's a lot of people who end up following me. They're like, "Hey man, how do I get into tech? How do I become a network engineer?" And I'm like, "Sec Plus.
Yeah.
That's all you need, brother. Go ahead, get your Sec Plus,
So
build from
would you
there."
recommend Sec Plus over CCNA starting off?
Hmm. I mean, for the government sector, you need Sec Plus.
Okay,
You can
okay,
have
that
C,
is true. That's true. I got you. Okay.
but what I can tell you is CCNA will definitely get you to where you want to be as long as you build off of it. Just CCNA as a whole, I see you have, is that your specialist? No, that's the
Uh,
CCNA.
no, this is CCNA right here. I
Mhm,
think this one right here, Network Plus, and then I have the Junos up there. I have Google IT support, and then I have Sec Plus up there.
damn. You know what's crazy? We both have a cert that low key don't mean nothing.
Which one you talking about, Juno?
Nah, like so you have the Google IT support.
Oh
I
yeah, yeah, yeah,
have
yeah.
I have the
What set is that again?
that's certified in cybersecurity.
Oh, okay. I see too. Those are the same people that make CISP, right?
Yep.
Okay, okay. Yeah, the Google IT support, that was pretty much I got that back in like 2022, I believe, when I was just trying to really just trying to figure out, you know what I mean? Like, how am I going to get to networking? So I just
Mm,
took that as one of those early certs that I was just trying to get out the way, pretty much. And then finally, I ended up taking Network Plus, and then I actually ended up getting that network engineer position later on after that. So I actually she got a network engineer position, or let me say network admin position before I got my CCNA. And then before I got my network engineer position, that's like I got my CCNA, then that network engineer position where I was actually able to
mhm.
start touching stuff and being a real network engineer.
Yeah, man. And I think that's one of the best parts about it because you can get somewhere without a cert and then get the cert and go somewhere better.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And then thing is, like, a lot of companies, obviously, like you said too, will actually pay for your certifications. Like sometimes it's really just about having the skills. Like if you have the skills how to configure devices, bro, you're gonna be set up for a pretty good future. Like if you can just have the skills, do your home lab, do your packet tracing, you're gonna get far. You know what I mean? Rather than just like specifically doing a lot of certs that don't actually get you the skills. Like, okay, I have this Google certification. I'm not gonna lie, that's not gonna help me become a network engineer. It's not. It's not. So like actually getting the skills, that's the biggest thing that I recommend people to focus on is getting those skills, doing their labs and excelling yourself that way.
All right. Okay. I want to ask one question. What is one technology you would, if you had to dedicate your life to like one technology in network engineering, what would it be?
Like, okay. I wanna counter your question before I answer. So would you be referring more to new technology or just traditional network engineering? What would I want to focus on? Let me just ask you that.
Traditional, traditional.
If I was gonna do traditional, it would definitely be route switch. Definitely would be route switch. Like if I can master how to do routing ERGP, OSPF, BGP, and know it like the back of my hand, that's how I would go. That's the way I would go because I mean you have to know how to route with an organization for packets to get anywhere. So that would definitely be where I would go with it. But if I was trying to be more on the like new and coming side, I would definitely focus on a cloud networking scheme. Like I would figure out if I want to do Azure, AWS, and focus on cloud networking because cloud networking definitely is a big part of networking today. I'm not gonna lie. Like just to be honest with you, data
Oh
centers
my
are being
god.
built all the time, and cloud people are putting their infrastructure inside that cloud, and that infrastructure is literally sitting in that data center. And like the thing is, people think that cloud is really a cloud. Like cloud is
Like
really
no,
just a It's just a big data center where all that information housed at. So I would definitely focus on cloud networking if you're talking about not traditional, if you're talking about like up and coming technologies.
Definitely
How about
understandable.
you, though? I want to reverse that back to you. How about you?
So if I had to rely on one technology, one traditional network engineering technology, I'd say probably I don't want to be biased and say security, but if I truly had to, it'd be routing and switching too.
Okay.
Because like you said, how are we going to get our information? And if I knew it like the back of my hand, I'd be a CCIE. You feel me?
You literally be a CCIE. Like, how do you feel about the architecture side of things? Do you think that that's a big thing, like designing networks?
Most definitely, because I don't know if you've ever watched them, but check out like Mark. No, so there's a movie about the BlackBerry, and then there's a movie about, oh my god, what's his name? Steve Jobs and him making the Macintosh and stuff. When
Okay.
they mentioned the network, I didn't think the network existed back then. I truly didn't. So the fact that they were working with, wireless at that time, being able to send emails to whoever, I was like, dude, that's actually insane. They
Yeah.
were doing stuff like that. They were like, oh, they only have this amount of users on that network. I'm like, what do you mean by that? So you really have to think, how far does routing and switching truly go?
Yeah. No, it goes. Yeah. Yeah. Like,
Like, bro, I was just so amazed. So I'm like, bro,
I
I
feel like
actually like
routing
this.
and switching is at the end of the day, that's what brings the world together at the end of the day. And that's why I feel like network engineers are still gonna be always needed. How do you expect to get your packets from here to all the way in South Africa if there's no route switch? There has to be routers, there has to be switches, people who configure these things, people who configure these pathways. Like that's why I would say network engineering is a field that's here to stay at the end of
Y-
the day.
Most definitely. And if I had to choose a specialty of some sort, or if I had to choose a new technology, I'd most definitely mesh with VPNs,
Okay.
because VPNs, remote access, that stuff is absolutely insane. Like there is so much that goes into it. Like just
Yeah.
studying for the CCNP, concentration, I was like, why is there so much? There's only 4 topics. There's 4, there's 4 categories in it, but there's so much that goes into it compared to the CCNP, score, which has 6, 4. I'm like, I thought this was going to be light work. What's going on here?
Yeah, and the thing is, I do have to say, I'm not all that. I don't really configure VPNs. I don't really configure, those tunnels like that. So, I mean, I've been watching a little bit of your content. I've been learning from you. To be honest, I've been learning from the videos that you've been posting about, VPNs and all this stuff. So, I mean, it's good. Keep posting that stuff. I mean, like, people are watching, bro. People are watching. At the end of the day, people are watching. How's the YouTube channel and stuff going?
I posted a video, I think maybe a week ago,
Yeah.
and it did maybe like 60 views, and I'm okay with that, most definitely. I'm probably gonna post another one this maybe no, yeah, probably Tuesday.
So. Yeah, Josh. So, we've had a great conversation overall. Just to wrap things up, what are some words of wisdom that you have for people who are trying to become a network engineer, people who are trying to break into the field? Like, what do you have to say to them as far as ambition and motivation?
So I'll be honest with you, the way I look at everything that I do so far when it comes to network engineering, every skill that I acquire means more money. And I'm a money type of person. People will tell you money shouldn't be the end all be all. Hold on, because I get a very, very big smile when that check hits my account.
Yep. Who
And
wouldn't? Who
like,
wouldn't?
bro, you could be in my shoes where I'm either studying or just watching YouTube and being the reactionary force. I made a video about it, I think yesterday. You could get paid to do less than what a person does at UPS or USPS just for sitting there watching YouTube or studying. You get paid to either watch YouTube or study. And my advice to people is to use that as a catalyst of motivation, because when you get started and you don't stop and you finally get that job, you finally get that interview, you finally, land that role that you've been wanting for so long, it'll all be worth it. And my last piece of advice is, if you truly want to get into networking, no shade to you, Chris, just skip Net Plus, go straight for CCNA.
Yeah, and thing is, currently, I do tell people that Net Plus, if you're getting a CCNA, not really needed. I'm not gonna lie. If you
Because
want to be a network engineer, see, Net Plus is not really needed. I have a Network Plus. That was very early on in my career when I first got a Network Plus, and I was still kind of trying to understand what was all going on. And also with that, there wasn't people like you and I, or people like, the other network engineer creators who were giving advice. So, you know what I'm saying? So now that I'm more experienced, I definitely tell people, hey, if you want to skip Network Plus, that is definitely okay.
yeah, most definitely. Because Network Plus is just all theory and no hands-on.
Yeah,
But with CCNA, you have to be hands-on.
100%.
And after you get your CCNA, be even more hands-on. If you can, go to Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Amazon, whatever, buy some hardware, or maybe stick with Packet Tracer and go into physical mode
Yeah,
instead of, simulation. Just do what you can, get really familiar with the CLI, invest in your future. Six, seven
yeah,
hundred dollars can turn you into maybe $60,000 down the line.
yeah,
And then that
100%.
60 can turn into 100K, and then 100K. Hey, I'm gonna chill
You
out.
know
I'm gonna
the
chill
deal. You
out.
know the deal.
You know
Yeah,
what you
but
know what I'm talking
yeah.
about.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But honestly, bro, thank you so much for, having this conversation with me. I feel like we've had a very good chat. Hopefully this video does help out a lot of people who are trying to become network engineers, or even just trying to get into tech in general. You spread some good wisdom. I feel like we had a great convo. So yeah, thank you, bro.
Of course, man. I'm always here.
That's what's up. All right, guys. Well, thank you. Make sure you all go subscribe to Josh Tech on YouTube. I'm gonna leave his in the description down below. Also gonna put it right here. So make sure you guys go subscribe to him. He posts great content, posts a lot of great stuff. So yeah, go subscribe to him. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys, and we are out of here.